I was young, I found an orphaned wolf cub in the forest behind our farm. I felt if I could instill rules, the proper boundaries, I could harness the raw power of that beast. A few months later, while hunting, the adolescent cub turned on me.
We're fixing the damage the Avengers did all those years ago. Inhumans are sick.
Unlimited power, that's dangerous. It's lethal. You are lucky to be alive.
Come on, Kamala. Let AIM help you.
I'll take my chances. What if the Avengers were set up? I think you should see for yourself. Couldn't Mr. Stark help us with this?
Hi, I'm sorry. Who are you?
Kamala?
This better be good.
He totally locked Cap in the reactor room and then he tried to jack the Chimera.
Son of a...
Have you all completely lost your senses?
What? Where were you while the world went to hell?
This is our fault. All of ours. You really think the world is better without us? Yes. See, that's always been your problem. Running from who you are, what you are.
I am warning you.
This is exactly what Tarleton wants!
You struggle against the unstoppable tide of progress, Avengers. Power cannot be controlled. It has to be destroyed. I will rid the Earth of superpowers, even if it has to end with me.
We're here live at the AIM experience in Manhattan, witnessing the return of the Avengers, but they appear to be attacking the city. Keep rolling, keep rolling. Is it any coincidence that this attack comes on the very day that AIM is supposed to unveil their promising new Adaptoid program? Oh.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good night, folks. Thor, update on those mechs. We're losing power fast.
They're sturdy. I'll give them that.
Wait a minute. That's Tarleton's endgame. We're the terrorists in this AIM experience story.
Nice card to play, Avengers.
Open the Bifrost!
Kamala, Tony, we're trying to restart the engines, but there's not enough power. We're out of time, people. Brace for impact!
Hey, got a thunder.
Stay behind me.
Now, bring it. Keep going, it's working.
Pull up!
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Marvel Avengers video. They just dropped a MODOK trailer with a bunch of gameplay. I'll also talk about what's going on with MODOK inside the MCU movies, because he was originally scheduled to appear during Marvel Phase 4 in one of the big movies. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I will do a giveaway for this video game when they release it, but it's not coming out till September. So all you have to do to enter that is just be a subscriber and leave all your theories about MODOK inside the MCU movies. But the whole thing with the Marvel Avengers game is that MODOK and AIM are revealed as the main villains behind everything, this grand plan to take down the Avengers. Avengers disassembled, big deep cut Easter eggs. He's trying to control Inhumans, which have been proliferating all over the Earth. That's where Miss Marvel comes in because she's an Inhuman. They're getting ready to do the Miss Marvel Phase 4 Disney Plus series, but they haven't announced a release date for that yet. They haven't announced who they've cast as their new Miss Marvel. The robots that you see with the Wolverine-looking claws in the trailer are the Super Adaptoid robots from the comics. They were also a creation of AIMS that predated the debut of MODOK in the comics, so they actually go way, way back. We also got a new look at a comic book accurate version of the Abomination giving the Hulk the business. The Abomination of the MCU looks a little bit different. Who's still alive for that matter? Kevin Feige actually revealed that a lot of the villains, say from the Incredible Hulk movie that they haven't referenced in a while, are still chilling out in prison on the raft somewhere. Everyone's hoping for that Red Hulk Thunderbolt series at some point with all those villains that the MCU has on ice that they haven't killed off yet. It sounds like they're going to do that at some point, but they haven't confirmed that yet. If you're not familiar with the MODOK character, that acronym stands for Mental Mobile Mechanized Organism Designed Only for Killing. His real name, as he appears earlier in the trailer when he's still kind of in human form, is George Tarleton. He worked for AIM, but in the comics, he actually debuted way back in an Iron Man Captain America crossover from Tales of Suspense. His origin story is a little bit weird. So AIM creates the Cosmic Cube first, which is something from the Captain America comics. Then they jack up George Tarleton with a bunch of mutates, turning him into comic book MODOK, that giant floating head. They give him the name MODOK with a C, but it stands for Mental Organism Designed Only for Computing. So they designed him to be more of their puppet to just solve really complex problems, but he rebels against them and takes the name MODOK with a K, changing the C for computing to K for killing. MODOK vows revenge against metahumans. He hates metahumans. In the trailer here, it's all about Inhumans, so it's a little bit different, but it's the same basic concept. So he battles AIM for control of the organization, then takes over. Way back in the 70s, he set off a giant nerve agent in New York in another plot to get rid of metahumans, but Miss Marvel of the 1970s, who's Carol Danvers, teams up with Iron Man at the time to stop him. So you can see the similarities in the plot of the Avengers game to the original comics. They're basically doing a version of MODOK's comic book story. Eventually in the comics, they wind up capturing him, throwing him in prison, something like the Raft. They offer him leniency if he helps the Avengers and the US government solve big problems and disasters, so they go to him every once in a while. But obviously there's been a lot of subsequent MODOK stories since then, but he's mostly associated with the AIM organization. In the MCU, AIM was a creation of Aldrich Killian's, who was also trying to get revenge against Iron Man. The whole thing with MODOK in the MCU is that originally he was going to be the main villain of Ant-Man 3 during Marvel Phase 4 or Marvel Phase 5, depending on how you want to think when that movie's happening. Really, I think it's closer to being Marvel Phase 5. But because MODOK as a character is mostly used in comedic stories recently because he is a giant floating head, which is kind of a silly concept, they were going to use him in Ant-Man because that's mostly a comedic movie series. They didn't really say what he was going to look like inside the MCU. We haven't seen concept art of it, but I'm assuming that they would have done a version of his backstory, so they could have used the quantum realm and quantum energy to mutate him into the giant floating head from the comics. Way back during Ant-Man and the Wasp, there was that scene where Sonny Burch said that he wanted to get his hands on Hank Pym's quantum technology in his lab for a bidder that wouldn't take no for an answer and had billions and billions of dollars to spend. So we all theorized that could be Norman Osborn, Oscorp, because that's just an easy slam dunk setup. It could be a Fantastic Four Easter egg, it could be Doctor Doom. There's just a number of big villains that they want to introduce in the MCU that we know are coming eventually that have that kind of money to throw around. But I think when MODOK was going to be the villain of Ant-Man 3, it was going to be MODOK who was behind Sonny Burch, and he was the one that wanted to get his hands on the quantum energy, and that would have been the continuation of the storyline from Ant-Man and the Wasp. What happened recently, though, is they hired a new writer to work on Ant-Man 3. It's not going to be coming out for a couple years, so it's going to be a while before we hear more about that movie. But it sounds like now they're going in a different direction and MODOK will not be the villain. So if we do see MODOK during Marvel Phase 4, it'll be somewhere else in somebody else's movie or project. In fun deep cut Easter egg, some of you have asked me what's going on with that new Warriors TV show that they were developing a long time ago. There was a live action Squirrel Girl and New Warriors TV show that went into development years ago. The showrunner from that series said that it's been canceled since then, but they had originally intended for MODOK to be the main villain of that series, and it was going to be Keith David himself voicing the character. They didn't release any concept art for that, but just the idea of Keith David doing MODOK in a live-action series sounds crazy. It wouldn't have been his face on screen, though. It would have just been him doing the voice for MODOK in some other way for them to accomplish the visual MODOK on screen. But everyone, let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Avengers game? I don't think it looks quite as good as Spider-Man PS4 or even the Miles Morales game. I know there are a lot of theories that the Spider-Man PS4 character is going to cross over with the Avengers game. I don't think that's going to happen. That's just a theory that people have, but nobody's confirmed that. I will also be doing a giveaway for the Miles Morales Spider-Man PS5 game later this year, but that's not going to be released till after the Avengers game. That's going to come out in September. There's a bunch of stuff that just happened this week, so I'll try to make videos for everything. Leave all your requests in the comments below. Everyone, click here to learn about Michael Keaton coming back as Batman in the new DC movies, and click here to watch that new Spider-Man Miles Morales trailer and for new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.